The second thing is, while what I'm about to suggest may not always be efficient at first blush, I believe it works. And that is to pair up with another BFO and make a joint call. When doing so, probably one person should be doing most of the talking, with the other person just sort of filling in the event that you forget a particular feature or benefit of a product. And I wouldn't make it look rehearsed where one person talks about one product and the other person the other, because I don't think that sells well. But when there's two of you in front of the CPA, you're probably a little bit different in personality. Now, think about the CPA and his client base. Some of those small business customers are very well educated, and some are not educated at all. Some are young and some are old. Some are sophisticated, some are not. Some wear business suits, some wear Levi's. And the CPA, if he has more alternatives within Wells Fargo Bank to choose from, probably will be more likely to call us and match up what he perceives or she perceives to be the right BFO with that particular client. Think of McDonald's and Burger King, for example. Don't you often find them on the same streets, sometimes next to each other? And in fact, sales increase because people see two alternatives to choose from as opposed to one, and so they stop and eat. So think of the CPA firm, think of partnering up with somebody who may not be just like you, so that when you go to that firm, that CPA has a choice. Besides the differences perhaps in your two personalities, what if you're on vacation? What if you're not in that day? You're in training, they call and get your voicemail, perhaps your partner's in. There's a lot of alternatives that can increase our sales if we think about partnering up and doing two at once. When I hand my business card to the CPA or CPAs, if there's more than one, I always hand them more than one card. And I've always had a sort of a belief that 3 business cards is the right number to give out. I always hand them my business cards and say, here's some of my business cards, one for you and a couple if you have any clients that might be able to use any of their products that we mentioned today. You can really say that at the front end by saying, here's 3 of my business cards. I thought I'd give you a couple extras in the event that you need any of our clients, any Wells Fargo customers that you need to refer to. But it doesn't really make a big difference whether it's the front part or the end, as long as we do the 3 business cards. And let me tell you how I carried that to extreme ones. I had a friend of mine who was a CPA. We used to play tennis together. Even though we were friends, he didn't let me beat him. But we knew each other well professionally. He used to send me a lot of referrals. So one day, I kept thinking, I'm already getting referrals, how can I get more? So I took a box of my business cards to his office. All of us have a desk drawer, and in that desk is business cards. And some of them are a year and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 years old. And it's like, there's something wrong with throwing business cards away. We just don't do it. Most of you out there would admit that we just don't go through and throw our business cards away. So I figured if I gave him a whole box, imagine how difficult that would be for him to throw away. Now, business cards are not terribly expensive. And once you really get established with a CPA firm, think about the concept. It's not that they'll use all those cards. Think about the concept that drives, that you're that confident in our relationship and their need that we're going to be working together, that they can actually use a whole box of your cards. And they'll laugh at it. But when you tell them you're really serious, they typically take it. Now, I've never had them refer a whole box of my business cards, but it's just something to think about. Let me tell you another sort of marketing idea that you might be able to use. And this could vary from division to division. You may not be able to deliver on this without some cooperation from either other BFOs, perhaps your division or area manager. But think about the idea that if you could guarantee the CPA a decision by a certain time or a certain day. For example, if I called on you and you were a CPA and I said to you, if you get me a complete package by 10 a.m., I could tell you the decision by 5 p.m. How many other banks in the marketplace would offer that? And in fact, one of the problems that our competitors have is that loans get tied up in process with committees, with underwriters, whatever the situation might be. And many times those customers end up venting that frustration with their CPA. At that point, what I'm hoping is that if I give that type of a guarantee to the CPA, is that when a customer calls and says, I'm really frustrated with Bank X, do you know anybody down there? They've had my loan application for 2 weeks. I'm still not getting a decision. The CPA would say, well, I'll tell you what, I know somebody out at Wells Fargo, and if I give them the complete package, they've told me that they could have an answer within the same day or the next day or whatever you can live with. I think you'll get a chance at that loan. So think about that. Can you deliver some sort of a commitment or a promise to that firm and deliver on it? Don't overcommit and underdeliver. Can you give that commitment and deliver on it, that you could give a decision back by a certain amount of time, and would that not allow you to get some referrals that you might not otherwise receive? Lastly, when I finish with the call, and I watch my watch carefully during the call to make sure that I conclude in the 30 minutes that I promised it was going to take. And if I reach 30 minutes and we're not finished yet, I will ask the CPA, gee, I recognize I've used up my half hour. I'm really sensitive to your time, and sort of watch their reaction. If they say, oh, that's okay, for example, it might be May or June, and they're typically not that busy right after tax season, then we'll continue to talk about whatever, wherever we were in the call in terms of the products and Wells Fargo and so on. And I always, of course, mention local decision making. But if I notice that they're a little antsy on time, I will terminate the call there, and hopefully somewhere in those 30 minutes I've got the opportunity to come back next week. As I'm standing up and we're walking back out, I asked the firm, the CPAs that I just met with, I have one more question for you. Did we in fact change your perception about Wells Fargo Bank, our involvement and interest and abilities to service a small business customer? I want to know the answer to that question. It's very difficult for that CPA to say no at that point. If you've done your job, you've done your homework, you know your products, they're going to say yes, you have. And that's the first step towards really a positive, improved relationship with that firm that will allow you opportunities to talk to them in the future.
In the past 4 quarters as a producer, as a BFO, I've consistently booked 4.25 each quarter for the last 4 quarters, and approximately 1/3 of my volume does come from CPAs, and of those 1/3 in deals of my total volume, 1 to 2 deals per quarter are nonprofit organizations, and these are referrals that I would have never gotten had it not been for the CPA giving me access to meet with the client and solidify a relationship and actually bank the credit.